Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Troy. Welcome back to the Half Court Report YouTube channel. Doing a really fun video today. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a few weeks now, and finally put this together. I am ranking every two-way player in the 2023-2024 NBA season. So this year, NBA teams can have up to 3 two-way players. So lots of guys to go through. So I am ranking them all. Right now there are 80 officially that have been signed. So let's get into it. Hey, be sure you like the video. It really helps out getting this video in front of more people. And subscribe to the channel as well. We are so close to 20K subscribers. Would love to have you be a part of what we've got going on here at the Half Court Report. So using Tier Maker, I have organized these into, I guess, kind of think of it as like maybe a starting 5, and then bench players, and then honorable mentions. You'll get it. Okay, so look at all of these players. Man, oh man, we have lots of guys to go through. I will try not to make this a 2-hour video. Okay, first off, Amari Bailey, and I have my cheat sheet over here too. Amari Bailey, he's a two-way player for the Charlotte Hornets. Just got drafted out of UCLA. His mom apparently is like some big influencer on Instagram or YouTube or something. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, Amari Bailey, he had a pretty good season at UCLA. He can play the point, he can play 2-guard, he can rebound, he can play make a little bit, he can score. He's the first guy. He's probably a top 20 two-way player as of right now. Udoka Azubuike, he went to Kansas, was drafted in the first round by Utah a couple seasons ago. Big dude, like 7 feet, 280. He's like Baby Shaq, kind of, but not nearly as skilled, obviously. That's why he's a two-way player. But he got waived by Utah, or didn't get picked up by Utah. He's a two-way player with the Phoenix Suns now. But as far as two-way players go, I think you got to put him in the top 20 as well. Next up, Ibu Baji. Apologies to Ibu if I'm massacring your name. He's a two-way player for Portland, 7'1" dude. Just kind of one of those guys who, ideally you want him to be a big defensive presence under the rim, rim runner, catch lobs, things like that. I think, if memory serves, he was injured all of last year for the Blazers. This is also a good website that has all the two-way players listed as well. So yeah, he has no stats. So he was he's from Dakar, Senegal. Yeah, 7'1", 240. Still pretty young dude, only 20 years old. But yeah, he did not play. He was injured. So, I mean, just for that, we got to put him in and the rest, because, I mean, we don't know what he's going to be. Next up, Dominic Barlow. He's a two-way player for the Spurs. If you were watching NBA Summer League, this guy was actually really, really good. So good, in fact, that there was talk that maybe the Spurs would sign him to a standard contract, maybe another team would sign him to a standard contract. Didn't happen. He's back on a two-way, but I mean, I would put him in the top 5. I'm eager to see what he can become this year, and how he continues to develop. Oh, Emoni Bates. Do you guys remember Emoni Bates? Huge high school talent. Enrolled at the University of Memphis when he was 17 years old. Didn't really pan out for him there. Ended up going to Eastern Michigan and scored a boatload of points for a really bad Eastern Michigan team. Ended up being drafted by the Cavs in the second round. Put on a show at Summer League. Helped the Cavs win the Summer League title. But Emoni he's a scorer. He can put the ball in the basket. I think he's a top 10 two-way player. We'll put him there for now. Okay, this next guy, For any expectant moms or dads out there, if you don't have a name for your son yet, Anuralp Bidham. Anuralp Bidham. He is a two-way player for the Bulls. He's out of Turkey. As Shaq once said, apologies, I'm not familiar with your game. I'm getting Marko Guduric vibes from this guy. He's in And the Rest. Next up, we have Jamari Bouye. Jamari Bouye, maybe. He's a player for the Miami Heat. Jamari Bouye. He played 5 games for the Heat last year. 3 points, a rebound, 6'2" guard. I don't know, maybe they're trying to recreate like their Gabe Vincent magic with this guy. I'm not super impressed with Mr. Bouye. But hey, Mr. Bouye, let's give you a top 25. I don't know. No, your honorable mention, Mr. Bouye. Okay, this guy, best name ever, Leaky Black, played for University of North Carolina. His name's Malik, but I love Leaky as a nickname. Leaky Black. He wins the name game, but I don't see him really doing a whole lot two-way wise or NBA wise. So let's put him in the honorable mention category. Next up, Armoni Brooks. I believe he was with a two-way with Houston last year, but now he's gonna play for Brooklyn. Armoni Brooks, 74 career games, about 7 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, 6'3", point guard, shooting guard, went to college in Houston. So 61 games with Houston, 13 games with Toronto. Look at that. Granted, in that 2021 season with Houston, they were, just tanking hardcore. But 11 points, started 5 games, 38% from 3. He could be something one day, right? Let's put Armoni in the top 15. Next up, we have Jared Butler, who was on that really good Baylor team with Davion Mitchell, who won the title. Really, he was projected as a first-round player, went to the second round, hasn't done a whole heck of a lot in the NBA, but I'm holding out hope for Jared Butler. I'm going to put him in the top 20. Kendall Brown, who actually another Baylor guy, the year after. I remember when Kendall Brown came out, he was early on in the year, they were like, this guy could be a lottery pick. Ended up falling to the second round, picked up by the Pacers. I don't know exactly how he did last year. Let's see. Who's he with? Indiana. Kendall Brown. What is he like? 6'8", 205. Yeesh. 6 games, 1.5 points, and a rebound. This guy was so good, or was supposed to be so good coming out of college, though, or out of high school. He was like a top 10, top 15 player, maybe. I have high hopes for Kendall, but as of right now, I'm going to put him in top 25. This next guy, John Butler, do not adjust your screen. He's not a giraffe. He's an NBA player. John Butler, this guy, he's like 7'1", like $180, $190. Ideally, he's supposed to be like one of those stretch bigs. The thing is, he just gets pushed around. He's not. I don't think he's that good. He came out of Florida State after a year, averaged like 7 or 8 points. I'm not a big believer in him, but Portland, they're just trying to get the market on the raw big dudes along with Ibu, but I think he's better than Ibu. I'm going to put him in honorable mention. Next up is Jamal Cain, another two-way player for the Heat. Along with Mr. Bouye, not super impressed with Jamal. I'm going to put him in honorable mention. This next guy, Colin Castleton, he has several things going for him. He's 7 feet tall. He plays for the Lakers. They have a good developmental thing in place. Remember, Austin Reeves was a two-way player. Now he's like the new golden boy of the NBA. Colin Castleton went to University of Florida. He can shoot, he can rebound, he can play make. He looks like AM Hoops a little bit. He's wearing a blue shirt just like me, so he has amazing fashion sense. And I did a video on him that got like 4,000 views. So, Mr. Castleton, I am a fan. You're in my top 20. Colin Castleton. Craig Castleton, the 13th. Next up, we have Malcolm Cazalon. He's a French player playing for Detroit. Not super familiar with Malcolm. He's like 6'5". I guess you're signing him to be like a 3-and-D player. Until you show me something, Mr. Cazalon, you're in the honorable mention. This next guy I like, Jalen Clark. He's a two-way player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you haven't noticed, I'm trying to go kind of going alphabetical with these guys. Jalen Clark. Two-way player from Minnesota, went to UCLA. Really good talent, but he had some injury concerns with UCLA, so he fell to the second round. I think he was drafted in the second round. I don't think he was an undrafted free agent, but I almost called him Jamal again. I like Jalen Clark. Let's put him in the top 20 actually for now. I think he's got like one of those builds. He's like 6'5", but he's like 230, just like a big sturdy dude who can play really good defense. He was on that team with Amari Bailey, Jaime Jaquez, Adem Bona, who's going to get drafted next year. That was a really good UCLA team. Okay, next up, Ricky Council. You know when he gets his headshot taken like this, you know this guy is something. But, and he's got his chain on too. So, Ricky Council the fourth. I don't know about the other three Ricky Councils, but this one is pretty good at basketball. University of Arkansas. He was a second-round pick. He was undrafted, signed with the Sixers. They've got a lot of good two-way players. Ricky Council, though, he's one of those guys who has that dog in him, as they say. He can really throw it down. Just really fiery competitor. I like Ricky Council a lot. I'm going to put him in top 15 for now. J.D. Davidson, University of Alabama, played a season last year for the Celtics, back on a two-way with them. Didn't show a whole heck of a lot with Boston last year. I'm going to put you in honorable mention, JD. Next up is Darius Days. Darius Days. Ooh, there's actually a Nathan Knight later on in this video. What are the odds? Darius Days, Houston Rockets two-way player. I want to say he was, I think he played for somebody last year. 4 games for Houston. Okay, 4 games for Houston. 6 minutes and 4 points a game. Hey, man, what are those per 36-minute numbers? My goodness. Okay, I thought they'd be better. 21 points per 36 minutes. But, wow, look at those per 36. 21 points, 8.5 rebounds, an assist for a dude who's he is 6'7". So he plays the power forward of that small forward spot. Until you show me a little more Mr. Days, you're going to go in the honorable mention. Next up is Moussa Diabate for the Clippers. Again, not super impressed with Mr. Moussa. Drew Smith. This guy looks like he needs to be in Milli Vanilli or something. Love the hairdo. I don't know. I just think he's got a cool look. I think he went to Mizzou. He's like 6'3". He's a Miami Heat two-way player. Played a few games for them last year. Let's put him in honorable mention. I don't know. That hair, though, makes me want to move him into the top 25, but I won't yet. Keon Ellis for Sacramento. Again, just kind of a no-name player, if we're being honest. Keon isn't, like, super impressive to me. I feel like he played last year. He did 16 games for Sacramento, point and a half, 4 minutes a game. Oh, Keon, you're going to go in the and the rest, I'm afraid. Jordan Ford. This is another guy, another two-way player for Sacramento. I actually did, when I was doing a mock draft, when I first started my YouTube channel, I actually had him as a second-round pick. He's a little small, but I feel like he might actually be halfway decent. I'm going to put him in top 25 because it's my video, and I like Jordan Ford. Trent Forrest, two-way player for the Hawks. Nothing super impressive with him. Alex Fudge for the Lakers. Like, I don't think I've ever watched an Alex Fudge clip in my life, but I know a lot of people like him. So let's put him in honorable mention. Usman Garuba. I already know this guy. He would probably start if we're doing the two-way players. Drafted by Houston, played a couple seasons with them, got kind of lost in that numbers game, got traded to Atlanta, then Oklahoma City, waived again. Golden State picked him up. Did a really good video on Usman. Check that out if you haven't already. But this dude, he just hustles, plays defense, he can score inside, he can shoot it a little bit, he can play make a little bit. I like his game a whole lot. So he's definitely top 5 for me. Javon Liberty Freeman is next. He signed with the Raptors. Not super impressed with him. Luke Garza. If he'd come out like 20, 30 years ago, he would dominate the NBA. He was so good in college for Iowa. But in the NBA, he just hasn't done a whole lot. Played for, the Pistons, and then last year for Minnesota. I mean, he's nothing special, if we're being honest. Sorry, Mr. Garza. Next up is Kaiser Gates, New Orleans Pelicans. They recently signed him to a two-way. I'm not expecting much for him, but he's going to be they want him to be like a 3-and-D player. He's an and the rest. G.G. Jackson. Gilgamesh Giggleswick Jackson. He is a two-way player for the Grizzlies. Was drafted in the second round. Before the NBA draft, there was talk that he could be maybe a lottery pick. Fell to the second round. I think he's literally the youngest player in the NBA this year. And he actually had an okay summer league, and I'm excited to see what he does with the Memphis Hustle over this next season. So wouldn't surprise me if he ends up pulling like a Kenny Lofton and is able to make it onto the main roster by the end of the year. But as of right now, I'm putting GG, Gilgamesh Giggleswick Jackson, I'm putting him in the top 10. Colin Gillespie is just a dude for the Nuggets. He was on a 2A with them last year. He didn't play, though. So you're in and the rest, Mr. Gillespie. Jacob Gilliard, he's a dude who played for Richmond, University of Richmond, the Spiders of Richmond. He got signed by the Grizzlies on a 2A contract after they called up Kenny Lofton last year. And he's like 5'9", quick dude, steals, can shoot it a little bit, can pass it. But he's just one of those guys. He's so small for the NBA. It's going to be hard for him to stick. He's an and the rest. Next up, Ron Harper Jr. Did he know he was getting his picture taken today? Do you own a comb, Ron Harper Jr.? I mean, come on, what are you doing? This is the photo that is going to be on your NBA bio for the whole year. And you show up looking like that to picture day? Oh, Ron Harper Jr. Honorable mention, good sir. Honorable mention. dishonorable mention. Fashion police need to give you a call, let me tell you. Hair emergency. Okay, Kevon Harris for Orlando, two-way player for them. Played with them last year. Didn't do a whole lot, if memory serves. Let's see, how did Kevon do? 34 games, 4 points, 2 rebounds. Actually did better than I thought. 37% from 3. Stephen F. Austin. So he's a Stephen F. Austin guy. Good for him. 6'6", 215 pounds. You know, everybody's trying to get the next 3-and-D type wing. We'll put you in honorable mention since you earned 4 points or scored 4 points. Joey Hauser, who is the who's going to be with Boston. Not with Boston. He's going to be with Utah, right? Hold on. Where's Joey Hauser? I think I put, yeah. I think I put Boston because I was thinking Sam Hauser. I don't know if that's his brother or not, but they're both white guys, and they have the last name Hauser. So 6'9" from, where did he go to school? Marquette and then Michigan. I kind of remember him in the NCAA tournament. Oh yeah, brother of Sam Hauser. There you go. What's better than one Hauser in the NBA? 2. But as of right now, let's put him in honorable mention. Oh, well, hey, look at this guy. Demoy Hodge showing up to picture day with your coat and tie. Look at you. Looking sharp, good sir. He's also playing for the Lakers, and he's also an honorable mention. Trevor Hudgens for the Rockets. I think he played for them a little bit last year, but tell me if you've heard this. Didn't do a whole lot for him. Trevor played 5 games, 2 points. Yep, for Houston, 5 minutes a game. 6-foot guard. You know, it's just so hard for small point guards to make it in the NBA these days. So you're going to be in and the rest, along with Jacob Gilliard. Jay Huff. This guy, he's been in the league a while. Like, how is he still two-way eligible? He's played for the Lakers. He's played for the Wizards. I feel like he played a game for the Grizzlies somewhere in there, I think. Who's he playing with now? With Denver now? And let's see, Jay Huff. He's a big dude from Virginia. Yeah, 7'1", 240. Okay, I think he was just signed with Memphis. He never played for him. But for Washington, he did okay. 7 games, 7 points, 3 rebounds. Can stretch the floor a little bit. James Matthew Huff. He looks kind of like my friend, who I one of my best friends growing up. But it's not him. But he looks kind of like him. I'm going to put him in top 25, actually. Johnny Juzang is next. He was on that UCLA team with Jaime Jaquez, the team that... Did they beat Gonzaga or lost to Gonzaga? Or maybe it was Baylor. I think they lost to Baylor. Was that what it was? Anyway, he's with Utah. I kind of thought he would be decent in the NBA, but he hasn't shown me a whole lot. He's an and the rest. Keontae Johnson. Do you guys remember when that player for the University of Florida passed out during a game? Well, he was like in a coma for a little bit, and then he ended up not playing basketball for 2 years. Well, then he went to Kansas State, and Keontae Johnson is this guy, and he's pretty good, actually. I'm going to put him in the top 20. Gosh, my foot is asleep. Goodness gracious. But Keontae Johnson, I like his game. He's kind of one of those, like, he can, kind of a bully with the basketball, like, just really thick, like 6'5" dude. just built like a tank. He can score. He can rebound. He was on that good Kansas State team that went to the Final Four, I want to say. So I like Keontae. It's a good pickup for the Thunder. Braxton Key for the Pistons. He's nothing special, in my opinion. Nathan Knight, he played with the Timberwolves. Now he's on a two-way with the Knicks. I actually like him. I'm going to put him in the top 20. AJ Lawson, who is on a two-way with the Mavericks. Nothing special. Nothing special with him. Oh, you're special, Mr. AJ Lawson. You get a white background when everybody else doesn't get one? Okay, I see how it is. Saban Lee. He was early second-round pick out of Vanderbilt by the Pistons. Played for them, played for Phoenix. He's actually fairly decent. I'm going to put him in the top 5 for now. We have Justin Lewis, who's been on a two-way with the Bulls. Honorable mention for him. Seth Lundy, he's on a two-way for the Hawks out of, where did Seth Lundy go to school? I can't remember. He was getting buzz in the, I think even in the late first round, but he was second round pick out of, Penn State. He played with, I can't remember that guy who was drafted either by, I think he was drafted by Denver, who's the point guard. I can't remember his name. But Seth Lundy's actually pretty good for Penn State. Yeah, 14 points last year, 40% from three. So, again, one of those 3-and-D kind of players that every team is after. I like him, though. He's in the top 25 for me. Theo Maledon. I did a video one time where I called him Theo, and a guy put into the comments, actually, it's pronounced Theo. So, he's no longer Theo Maledon, he's Theo Maledon. The H is silent. But Theo Maledon, early second round pick a few years ago, two-way player for Charlotte, hasn't really done much in the league. He's honorable mention. And he's got a big old head. We have Jalen Martin next. He was with Overtime Elite, I think it was. And he's now a two-way player for the Knicks. From what I understand, he's actually okay, though. He's fairly decent. I'm going to put him in the top 25, but I'll probably move him. Mike Miles for the Dallas Mavericks. He's a two-way player. I like him. He's like in the Baron Davis, Kyle Lowry. Like, he's a little on the short side, but he's big, okay? Like, he's like going to muscle you out of the way. I like Mike Miles. I'm putting him in top 25. We have another side headshot. This one is Seth Milner for the Spurs. You know, the Spurs, they're always pretty good at finding those diamond in the rough kind of players, but until I see anything from Mr. Milner, you're going to be an honorable mention. Jordan Miller, he was on that really good Miami team for the last couple of years with Isaiah Wong, who will be later on in this video. He is on a two-way with the Clippers. Jordan Miller with the Clippers. I don't know, you're honorable mention. You're probably high up on that honorable mention list, but you're there. Isaiah Mobley, Cleveland Cavaliers two-way player, brother of Evan Mobley, and was on that Cavaliers team in the Summer League with Emoni Bates and another guy who's going to be on here in a minute who won the Summer League championship. And, you know, he's like a legit, probably third-string center right now. Could maybe be like Jericho Sims level, Jock Lawndale level, maybe like low-grade second-tier center, backup center. So I'm going to put him in the top honorable mention. You're going to honorable mention, Mr. Mobley. Omari Moore, I like him a lot. He was drafted, I think he was drafted late by Milwaukee. That he's playing with Milwaukee, right? Yeah. Two-way player with Milwaukee out of San Jose State. Like 6'7" dude. He can score. He can stretch the floor. I like him. I'm going to put him in top 25 because it's my video. I'm going to put Omari in top 25 because that's what I want to do. Next up is Miles Norris with Atlanta. And I don't know. I'm not super impressed with Miles. And the rest. Good sir. Marquise Noel. He's like a 5'9" point guard for the Raptors. He was on that Kansas State team with Keontae George. I think he led the NCAA in assists. This is one of those dudes who, if he was like 4 inches taller or 5 inches taller, would have been like a first rounder or like a top 15 pick. He's just one of those dudes who just, the guy finds a way to win. I like him. I really like him. I kind of like him better than Malachi Flynn, who the Raptors have on their main roster. I'm a big fan of him. I'm going to put him in top 15, actually, because I think he's really good. Eugene Omarui, I think is his name. He's played for Dallas. He's now on a two-way with Washington. He's like one of those kind of undersized dudes who can play the four. But from what I've seen of him, I'm not super impressed. So honorable mention for Mr. Eugene. Okay, Craig Porter Jr. He's the other guy who was on that Cleveland Summer League team. He's their third two-way player along with Bates and Mobley. He's like a 6'2", 6'3" guard, but he can rebound it like crazy. And kind of like Noel, who I was just talking about a second ago, he's one of those dudes who finds a way to win. And I don't know, I'm kind of impressed with Craig Porter Jr. I'm going to put him in top 25. I may move him out, but I like him there for now. Next up is Micah Potter. He's just a big dude who got signed by the Jazz. He's like 7'1", nothing really special, in my opinion, if we're being honest. Nemesh Keita has just got signed on a two-way by the Celtics. It's one of those guys where, like, why didn't the Warriors pick him up? You know, they need a big man. He's got some NBA experience. He went to Utah State, I want to say. He played for Sacramento last year. Just another big body. I want to say his advanced numbers, especially in college, were pretty good. I know that Hollinger liked him, but I like him too. I'm going to put him in top 25, and he may get moved, but that's where he is for now. Lester Quinones is next. I watched him, so I'm from Memphis, big Grizz fan, but I also watched the Memphis Tigers. He was on that, he played with the Tigers for 3 years. He was on teams with like James Wiseman, Precious Achiuwa. He was on that Emoni Bates team. When he was in college, I was like, yeah, he's fine. But when he got picked up by the Warriors, I was like, really? Okay. So he's on you do you, Lester. LQ. So Lester played a few games with the Warriors last year. Actually did okay. Can shoot the three. I don't know if he's good enough for top 25. But I'm going to put him there because I know we have lots of Warriors fans who watch this channel. And I gotta support the fans who want to see Lester in the top 25 because I know they do. Next up is Jared Rhoden for Detroit. Again, along with Braxton Key, none of these Detroit two-way players really do much for me. Next up is Sir Jabari Rice. He's a two-way player for the Spurs. So, first off, if his parents had a girl, would they have named him Ma'am Jabari Rice? Or like Ma'am Jacqueline Rice? You know, what's like the female version of Jabari? Like Jasmine? Ma'am Jasmine Rice. Jasmine Rice. I think I had some of that for supper last week. Sir Jabari Rice, he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's just a guy the Spurs are trying to develop. Matt Ryan, he is now on a two-way with the Timberwolves. He played for, I think he played for LA and for Boston. But, he's like poor man Sam Hauser, I guess. Put him in and the rest. This next guy is Jermaine Samuels, another two-way player for the Rockets. He's an and the rest kind of guy for me. Adama Sanogo is next for the Bulls. He was on that UConn championship team with Jordan Hawkins. He was undrafted, but I had a pretty high second-round grade on him. He's like an undersized center, but dude's like a tank. Really good in the low post. I like him. I'm putting him in top 25. And yeah, I'll have to move some of these around, but this is fun. Olivier Sarr is next. This is interesting. So he's a two-way player for the Thunder. This is interesting. His brother, Alex Sarr, could be the #1 pick in the draft next year. Olivier Sarr went to Kentucky, but by way of France. He's better than Ibubaji. He's probably not as good as Luka Garza, if we're looking at centers. Probably not as good as Keita. I'm going to put him in honorable mention. Next up is Admiral Schofield. So Admiral Schofield, like if they had put him at the front of the Titanic, they never would have hit an iceberg. Look at those teeth. Gorgeous. Who's your dentist, Admiral? Man, I love those teeth. Gorgeous. Gorgeous smile. He is like 6'6", undersized, big man. He was drafted by the Wizards a few seasons ago, was out of the league, then he came back on a two-way with the Magic. I mean, he's okay. I'll put him in top 25. I don't know if he'll stay there, but you're there for now. Jay Scrubb, he's one of those JUCO players who got drafted into the league in the second round a couple years ago. Really good scorer in JUCO. Hasn't shown me a whole lot yet in the NBA. Terquavian Smith is next. Or, well, hold on, is that, let's see, Terquavian's next. This is Darian Sebrin for the Pelicans. He doesn't do much for me. Jalen Slauson is next. He's a Kings two-way player. Furman's finest. Actually had a second-round grade on him in the most recent draft. I think he's not too bad. I'm going to put him in top 25. Now we have Terquavian, NC State. Really good scorer in college. He's just kind of small. He's thin. Kind of, I get like Bones Highland vibes from him. I'm going to put him in top 25 though. Oh, I love this guy. Oscar Tshiebwe. Like one of the best rebounders in the history of college basketball. Played 3 years at Kentucky. I just love his story. I love his attitude. I love his approach to the game. Two-way player for the Pacers. If we're being honest, I was a little disappointed in his performance in Summer League. I thought he would do a lot better. So for that, I would love to put him in the top 10, but I'm going to put him in top 15 just because I really like his game. Put him with a defensive-minded center, and I think he could actually be pretty good. So I like the fit for him in Indiana. I don't know how often he'll play next to Miles Turner, but I would love to see that. Next up is Azuolas Tubelis, University of Arizona. Big man from Lithuania, I believe. He played, 3 years at Arizona. Had a really good college career. Like Tshiebwe, though. Didn't show me a whole lot in Summer League. I'm going to put him in honorable mention, and it pains me to do it because I had high hopes for Azuolas Tubelis. Next up is Ty Washington, very similar to Garuba, got lost in that numbers game with Houston. He was a pick out of Kentucky just a couple years ago, late first rounder. When he came out, there was talk that he could be a late lottery pick, but he fell to the first round, and now he's just out of the league. One of those things, like I've said before, with the smaller point guards, it's so hard for them to stick in the NBA because you have to have some size to you now. Like, the days of being a really small point guard is over. Just look at Isaiah Thomas. And granted, he's had injury concerns, but look at Kennedy Chandler, who was a top pick coming into college at the University of Tennessee. Got signed to a 4-year contract by the Grizzlies, got waived after 1 year, and nobody's even picked him up on a two-way. It's just really hard for these small players. But Ty Ty lit up the G League. He lit up the G League. I'm going to put him in top 5, actually. I kind of like him better than Saban Lee. Get over there, Saban. Okay, we're finishing up. Vince Williams, he was a two-way player for the Grizzlies last year. He's back with them again. He didn't show me a whole lot. Lindy Waters, the third two-way player for Oklahoma City. You know, he can hit some threes. Otherwise, doesn't do much else. Lindell Wigington, two-way player for the Bucks. Again, I'll put him in honorable mention. Oh, this guy I like. Jalen Williams, University of Kansas. I like his game. He was like a 20 and 10 player in college. I had an early second round grade on him. Would not have surprised me if he'd gone late first. I think he's one of those guys where I just don't know if he's athletic enough to stick in the NBA long term, but I like him as a two-way player for Brooklyn. So I'm going to put him in the top 20. Oh, he gets a white background too. Dylan Windler from Belmont, Nashville represent. He was a first-round pick by the Cavaliers a few seasons ago, had some injury issues. Now he's on a two-way with the Knicks. You know, on talent, he's a good player. He's just got to overcome his injuries. He's got to show me that he can play in the NBA without being injured every 10 seconds. But right now, I'll put him in the top 20. And finally, Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller's teammate at the University of Miami. I actually like him better than Jordan Miller. I'll put him in the top 25 just because he's got that really good college resume. Okay, so let's move around some of these players a little bit. So let's kind of do it as, like, if we're doing a starting 5 and then the bench and then the guys to fill out the bench and then the guys who would almost make the team. That might be kind of fun. So Dominic Barlow, you got to start him at the 4 or the 5. Well, Usman would be at the 5. I would have Dominic Barlow at the 4. I would actually have Emoni Bates at the 3. Then I would have, I would have Ty Ty and Saban Lee be my backcourt. I think that's a pretty good starting 5 if we're talking two-way players. Then Gigi Jackson, Gilgamesh Giggleswick Jackson. I'm going to have him coming off the bench. And then, you know, I like Amari Bailey better than Armani Brooks. I like Sheboy. I'm going to put Sheboy, well, I'm definitely going to put Ricky Council in the top 10. I'm going to put Sheboy in the top 10. I'm actually going to put Colin Castleton in the top 10. And you know what? I think I might put, I don't know that we would really have a backup point guard, but, well, hey, let's put Marquise Noel in the top 10. Then you'd kind of have coming off the bench, Noel and Council in your backcourt, and then, yeah, that's kind of a fun team. Then the 3, 4, and 5, Jackson, Sheboy, and Castleton. That's kind of fun. And then your 11 through 15, we'll try to do it positionally just because that's kind of fun and more of a challenge. I'm going to put Windler there. I'm going to put Jalen Williams there. Fine, Armani. I'll put you there. So we have our guards. We'll put Dylan Windler at the small forward, Jalen at the 4, and let's put I've got Azubuike there. I kind of like Keita better though. I would put him as my center. And then 16 through 20. Is there anybody I want to move up from that 21 to 25? Man, I'm going to have to move lots of guys down. That's for sure. Adama Sanogo, actually like him in the top 20. Nathan Knight, I like him in the top 20. I'm not going to do it positionally anymore. I think as a Buke, I think you're going to have to move down, good sir. I like Clark and I like Johnson. Do I want Butler in the top 20 or do I want someone else? Mike Miles is a definite possibility. Yeah, I'm going to put Mike Miles in the top 20. And I'm going to move Jared Butler out. And then top 25. Let's see. Which of these 5 players do I want to keep here in the top 25? Let me keep... I want to keep Omari Moore. I want to keep Admiral Schofield, especially if the power goes out. We're going to need a flashlight, and those teeth would help. I'm going to put Lester in the top 25. Mr. Quinones himself. And then who else would I want in the top 25? I'm going to put, I don't know, I can't give up on Kendall Brown. I want him in there. And I think it's going to be between Slauson, Craig Porter, and Butler. I think I'm going to do Craig Porter Jr. And all these other dudes are going to be moved to honorable mention. And okay. I'm not going to go through all these honorable mentions. You can see them, and then for the rest. So my official ranking of the 5 best two-way players for the 2023-2024 season are Dominic Barlow, Usman Garuba, Amani Bates, Ty Washington, and Saban Lee. Rounding out the top 10, Gilgamesh Giggleswick Jackson, Ricky Council IV, Oscar Shibwe, Colin Castleton, and Marquise Noel. Let's check back at the end of the season. Let's see if these guys are officially the 10 best players on two-way contracts. And who knows, maybe some of these guys will actually have made it to the full-time roster. They can pull an Austin Reeves. They can pull a Duncan Robinson. They can pull a John Conchar. They can pull a Kenny Lofton. They can pull, I don't know, one of the Martin twin who plays for Miami. Gabe Vincent. I don't know. There's tons of them. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. Help me hit 20K. And I will catch you next time on the Half Court Report. Have a good day, everybody. See ya.